our friend Chandler, he loves to talk about the idea, don't bankrupt the brand,
Yep.
don't bankrupt the business.
Yes.
So like what he loves to talk about when he talks about marketing is this idea that you need to be willing to try anything you can to get people to trust you.
Yep.
And he has a whole formula for it, and I'm not going to steal it from him. You just got to go watch some of his content. It's fantastic.
Chandler Lyles.
Chandler, yes, with High Beam Marketing.
Yes.
He's fantastic.
Just Google him.
Yes, and the thing that is so interesting there is like you need to be able to try different things often to be able to understand how to get people to trust you.
Yep.
And when we talk about things like ROI, there is a lot of things that have to be tried to be able to get things to work.
Yep.
Like one of the things that I think people get so frustrated with marketing about is that there are a bajillion companies out there that do marketing and that claim that here will be your ROI if you spend X dollars with us. And podcasting doesn't exactly work that way.
Nope.
Because when you're thinking through ROI, you're thinking through, okay, what do I actually really want to get out of this podcast? Because yes, sales is one of them.
Yep.
Obviously. I mean, we spend money so that we can hopefully make more money.
Right.
Like that's the goal.
That's business.
That's business. But if we don't allow ourselves to say, but I have secondary objectives to this.
Yes.
One of the things we recognize with podcasting is that the ROI on podcasting can be sales and is often sales but it's because people trust you.
Yeah.
And because they already know who you are before they decide to make a purchase.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's an interesting example that you have of that because you had somebody basically convince you to trust them and you tried to do anything you could to work with these people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was the director of communications at my church and man, it was when I stepped into that role, I was really trying to find anything I could about church communications because that's just a different world than corporate communications, right? Yeah. And so I was just trying to figure all that out. I stumbled across, very, very intentionally on their part, the Pro Church Tools podcast. And it was all about how to help churches, especially ones that maybe are under-resourced in certain areas, to be able to communicate well using simple tactics, tools, all these different things.
Yeah.
So I consumed that content. Like they were very practical. The two hosts were super engaging. The quality was really awesome. So visually, it was great to watch. They did a great job on audio when I would listen on audio. And so over time, I realized, oh, wait, these guys, like the main host is the CEO of Nucleus, which happens to be a church website platform, right?
Yeah.
So this podcast was kind of like a marketing effort for Nucleus. However, they cared about their audience so much that they wanted to go a little bit above and beyond. And let's just talk about communications in general. So they're talking about camera equipment. They're talking about how to speak on camera. They're talking about graphic design, like all these different things that don't necessarily have to do with your website. So they were trying to give value there. Well, about a year or so into the role, we needed a new website and I really wanted to work with them. It was like a no-brainer for me. Like, I'm like, I have to work with these guys. I know their philosophy because they've talked about it a lot. I know the things that they care about and why it works because they've talked about it. They've talked about case studies and what has worked with this church versus this one. And it was just like such a no-brainer because over time, they showed up consistently, gave me value. And when it was time, like I was there. But again, it was like a year or so, maybe 2 years of listening to them before I was in the place to buy from them. But like I was ready. Thank you so much for your time, attention, and trust. And we will see you next time.